When you look at the fixtures for the primary competition for whatever club you back, you dream the final match of the season plays out as this one will for FC Miluwakee Torrent. A day for supporters to come out, purchase a beverage, and raise it to each other in toast. Two reasons. One, it's the middle of summer, and a frosty brew, perhaps a Torrent Kolsch, on a warm late June day can be quite the glorious thing. But also because your side has already clinched the league championship and has little to play for as you celebrate the season. Such is the case for the Torrent women, who got a 3-0 win in Appleton against the Green Bay Glory Friday night to clinch the Lake Michigan Division title in the Wpsl's North Lakes Conference for the 4th straight season. That makes today's match for the Torrent against the one-win Chicago Kicks SC essentially a glorified exhibition. However, if this was the Premier League, today would be merely a celebratory day, and that would be that. Instead, for the Torrent, they're now staring down hosting the North Lakes Conference Final Wednesday night. So staying sharp and healthy will be among the top priorities today. That final will likely be against a team from Minnesota, either a Minnesota Thunder side that went 6-1-1 in the Land of Lakes division, though they have chosen to forego postseason play in the past, which, if they did so again, would result in Salvo SC, the second-place team in that Land of Lakes division, coming to Milwaukee instead for the chance to continue their season, which finished 6-2 in the Land of Lakes. Nonetheless, whether the Torrent will have to try and fire another salvo or fight off the Thunder in the distance, today they'll try and get their kicks in the final match of this regular season. It's what I like to call Tour de Tosa Day here at Hart Park, with the Cafe Hollander Tosa Village Classic bike race going on just to the north of where we are playing this match over on State Street. But here, it'll be the Torrent looking to coast into the postseason as they try and throw the brakes on the kicks and ride off into the sunset. From Charles Hart Park in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, it's Torrent time. Good afternoon, everyone. Dan Pfeiffer with you from above the west side of Hart Park is today FC Miluwakee Torrent, now the 4-time Wpsl Central Region North Lakes Conference Lake Michigan Division champions, put their 7-0-2 record up against Chicago Kicks SC, which comes in with a mark of 1-8 under manager Reynaldo Larota. The train comes by right on cue at the start of the match as we get set to kick things off on this warm day in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. See if we can take a peek at the weather real fast here, as it is hot, it is muggy, it is humid here in Wauwatosa today. Current conditions here in Wauwatosa, 91 degrees. No chance of precip today. Few lofted cotton candy clouds up in the sky right now, but with wind coming out of the southeast at 8 miles per hour and humidity at 47%. It feels muggier than that, though. That wind is not moving real quick, which means that it is feeling hot and humid right now. In fact, the flags, even though the official weather report says the wind is coming out of the south-southeast, the wind is coming more so from the east-southeast right now, which means it's coming off of Lake Michigan and bringing some of that moisture off the lake with it. It is hot, hot, hot today. That means that the Torrent will make a point to make some substitutions today, try and stay hydrated. Again, the big thing is to stay healthy if you're FC Miluwakee Torrent. You want to be at full strength on Wednesday night when you are facing whichever team comes over from the West and Minnesota to take on the Torrent for the right to call themselves North Lakes Conference champions in addition to division champions. That match will be Wednesday night, though, and this match here at Hart Park on a Sunday afternoon in Wauwatosa is underway. Torrent wearing the traditional blue home kits, kind of a gradient from a light blue to a dark blue from top to bottom with the white numbers, whereas the Chicago Kicks are wearing their white kits on the road with blue numerals, blue shorts for the Kicks, blue socks as well. They had their royal blue tops on during warm-ups. We weren't sure exactly who was going to wear what for quite a while, but the Kicks did come out wearing the change kit, the white top for them with the blue numerals. The Chicago Kicks also employ a systematic numbering system where they have numbers all the way up to 59. Their keeper today, Chloe Guzik, is wearing number 59, so you'll see a little bit different scheme than the typical 1 to 11 out there for the Chicago Kicks, but we will keep things organized as we can. You did hear the starting lineups a little bit earlier, as given to you by our producer, Kevin O'Connor, as well as our public address announcer today and the guy who's running the music for the Torrent. The 10 field players include Balistreri, Dulick, Champagne, Adamson, the Captain Alberts, Skinner Barrett, Wilson, Hansen, Hall, and Stanchik in front of Kate Hopma in goal, who has had an outstanding season. Had to stand on her head a couple times against the Bavarian women. Good ball played forward here as we get you a little bit into the match. That is Adamson. Well outside the 18, plays a low cross that is collected by the Kicks keeper, Guzik. Mentioned her already. For the Chicago Kicks, Kaylin Smith, Lola Fuhrer, J.C. Sturck, Isabel Peterson, Sophia Torres, Mia Jonas, Jocelyn Prosick, Lauren Roche, Natalia Lopez, and Christina Lynch will be the 10 field players in front of Guzik in goal. That ball will be sent towards Guzik, who will play it at the penalty spot. She'll hold it with her feet. Now she'll pick it up. Mentioned Reinaldo Larota. Went to talk to him before the match. Always like to ask the coaches when I'm not as familiar with them to say their name so that I can try and say it correctly on the broadcast. And Reinaldo Larota rolled his R in a manner that I envy as he said his first name. So I will attempt to summon the motion of the tongue, if you will, to roll the R correctly for Reinaldo Larota. But I am sure I will not do it as professionally as he does. One area where Mr. Larota will definitely have something on me, in addition to his ability to coach a soccer club. Even though this has been kind of a long season for the Kicks, they do have one victory. It came against Milwaukee City AFC. However, the first victory and only victory of the year for City AFC came against this Kicks squad just recently. So we mentioned that during the last time we had the women on the air. And the fact that City, which is still growing as a program, a relatively new entry into the Wpsl scene here in Milwaukee. Very happy with the fact they were able to get a victory. But definitely further down table, the Kicks and City, relative to the Torrent, the Bavs, the sides that have been at the top of this Lake Michigan division table for some time. But the Torrent, now division champions for a fourth straight year after getting that victory, as mentioned, on Friday night up at the Bantam Bowl. And again today for the Torrent, now that you've secured this title, a chance to do some different things. And among the things that's notable today, one of the players from Andy Davies' Catholic Memorial side, who, of course, were WIAA Division III state champions, joining us today with FC Miluwakee Torrent, getting a trial, if you will. And that would be Margaret Sisk, who is also headed to the University of Wisconsin-Madison to be a Badger. She is part of the reserve unit today for the Torrent. Currently 5 players relaxing on the Torrent bench right now. Surely in time they will be rising to their feet and warming up. Do not be surprised if today Andy Davie employs his quarters approach, if you will, where he will send on substitutes at about the midway point of the first half, essentially splitting the match into quarters, with one group playing 1 quarter of the first half, another group playing, or correction, 1/2 of the first half, which then adds up to a quarter of the match. Pardon my poor division here. The other group then playing the second half of the first half and then doing something similar. That is a good through ball. That does come in. 1v1. Keeper comes up, makes the save. Second shot goes wide of the mark as the Torrent quickly challenge Guzik in goal. And the Kicks defense lets 2 Torrent players run free directly down the middle of the pitch. But Guzik comes off her line, rises to the occasion, and is able to stop the Torrent from getting on the board early on in this contest. And you will have to excuse us today, because this is going to be one of those broadcasts, knowing that this match has relatively little bearing on anything standings-wise. We will probably be spending a healthy amount of time during this match discussing other factors important to the Torrent, to women's soccer, a variety of things today, as, again, we will keep you posted certainly on what's going on here, but as the Torrent send across to the near side, that gets headed over the end line, and we will have a goal kick for the Kicks. We will certainly today be apt at times to focus on some other topics rather than be too enthralled with what's going on with the match here. But yeah, wanted to mention Margaret Sisk being out there for the Torrent after claiming that title for Catholic Memorial. Sisk, a key component for the champion Crusaders. Claire Weber, also part of that Catholic Memorial team. We have seen Claire out here with the Torrent before as well. So a little bit of crossover from Coach Davi's various coaching experiences. And when you have quality players, give them the opportunity to get some experience against some higher level players. And this is a Chicago Kicks team, a bit of a hodgepodge group in some ways. A healthy number of players from around the suburban Chicago area, but a few players who have come from elsewhere in the country and have just landed in Chicago. Some players who are college bound, some players who are in college, some players who are now in their post-collegiate career looking to continue playing soccer at a high level. Not really a universal theme to the roster for the Kicks. Sometimes you see, we talk about with the Green Bay Glory how they are a lot of the D3 players who come from around the state of Wisconsin. Torrent tend to be focused on a lot of the Division I players who come from the Milwaukee area. The Kicks, again, a group that, a varied group, but one that comes together to play soccer to the best of their ability. And again, we even had some discussion before the match about how the WPSL has been trying to get off the ground a second division where they can give even more opportunities to players that might be maybe a level below what you see at the top level here when you talk about the Torrent and the Bavs and some of these teams that are consistently competing for championships in the top division of the WPSL. But it's meant to be participatory, and if there are opportunities out there and players willing to play and clubs willing to organize, why not? Give them the opportunity at any level. And in some cases, yeah, you're going to have divisions like this one where you did have two clear top teams in Torrent and the Bavarians. But that doesn't mean that it isn't worthwhile for sides like the Kicks to come out here, even on a day like today, where, again, there is nothing at stake for either side. And ultimately, play your best soccer, challenge yourself, play against good players from not just other parts of the region, but sometimes from around the country. Sometimes you'll have players that will come in from other parts of the world that are just looking for an opportunity to play at a high level, get good playing time, and if they have a connection with a club or a particular part of the world, so it goes. So it works out well for everybody, and that's part of the positive of the WPSL and the growth of women's soccer in America, as we see a good ball played to the opposite side. Sturrock doesn't take much of a touch. It goes through the football goalposts. In a different sport, that would count for 3 points. In this one, it'll just be a goal kick for FC Miluwakee Torrent. But yeah, it's all positive, and that's the big thing about a day like today, is everything that occurs today, as long as everybody stays healthy. And that's the one thing that we want to see. And this may be a day, don't get us wrong, with the hot conditions, as that is a good ball played over the top. Wilson will chase it down near the corner of the 18-yard box. She'll turn around a little bit and distribute it back to Balistreri. Balistreri, low driving cross into the box, stopped at the edge of the 18. Couple bounces over the top. Yeah, don't be surprised if during the course of the day you see a player cramp up. Something along those lines. As much as these players try ahead of time to hydrate, do the right things in terms of their nutrition, this time of year, when it gets this warm, it happens. So we're going to try not to panic if we do see anybody go down today, because hopefully, if someone goes down, it may just be a matter of cramps. That is a good ball played to the far side. Skinner Barrett will chase it down. She's got 2 steps on the defender, but the defender does catch up. That's Isabel Peterson. Speaking of players who come from different parts of the world, Isabel Peterson, out of Lexington, Kentucky, plays her college soccer with the side at UW-Platteville. So kind of in between, making a stop in Chicago with the Kicks. Torrent to get possession back on the throw-in. Comes to the near side. Greta Hansen, really the anchor of that back line. Offside flag goes up against the Torrent. That will end this attack. Corey Beecher, our official today. Good to see him again. Always like getting a chance to stop and talk with the referees before the match as well. Confirm just who it is out there as the man in the middle. Today it is Corey, but Reminded them all, stay hydrated as well. Cramps can be a thing for those guys, too. They put on a lot of mileage during a match, especially the man in the middle. Ball played forward. Kick spread out a little bit. Will be sent back by Kaylin Smith. Indiana University, Indianapolis, the former Ooey Pooey. Purdue University has gotten out of that deal. The Jaguars. Ball played all the way back to the Kicks keeper, Guzik. Guzik sends it forward. One touch for the Torrent. Kicks get it back. Torres to the near side. Jocelyn Prozik. Some discussion up here in the box right now. There's something with the wiring with the public address announcing system that is causing a bit of a buzz. More of a buzz than usual for FC Miluwakee Torrent Soccer. A legit electronic buzz. And we're trying to figure that out. We'll maybe see if we have an electrician on the phone that we can call, or a sound guy, or maybe Doc Brown. 1.21 gigawatts. We play this match well enough, maybe we can go back in time to 1955 and punch a guy named Biff in the face. Anyhow, the things we can laugh about and talk about on a day when there is very little on the line. Torrent offside. So every once in a while we are having some visitors to the box to tell us, hey, is there anything you can do about that noise that the sound system's making? And the answer is no. It's better than when they're coming up to the box and they're saying, hey, is there anything you can do about that noise that's being made by that guy that's on the broadcast? Can't you just tell him to shut up or something? Yeah, that's kind of the universal opinion. This is going to be a fun one today, folks. It'll be even more fun after, hopefully, a side gets a goal on the board. We're going to have a whistle and a foul. That was Christina Lynch, who pushed down the defender from behind, trying to track down the ball. Torrent get a free kick, send it over to the far side. Skinner Barrett. She does so much for this Torrent attack. Milwaukee Panther, originally from Waukesha. Torrent will work it around to the near side. Hansen, side of the foot. Great first touch. She'll take it forward herself. Now distributes to the near side. Dulac. Back to Hansen. This is what the Torrent do so well. They're so able to keep their shape. They know where each other are. I don't say this just as a guy who does a lot of Torrent matches. This is one of the more organized sides you will see. Ball played forward. Skinner Barrett can't get the first touch on it, but she will still chase it down before it gets to the end line. Controls it with the right foot. Gets around the first defender. Edge of the 18. Left-footed cross headed towards goal. It'll be just wide. But Adriana Alberts wearing the captain's armband today. Good effort. Correction. Sydney Dulac. 16th minute of the match. FC Miluwakee Torrent 0. Chicago Kicks SC 0. Kicks, as mentioned, a Chicago entrant in the Wpsl. Last time the Torrent were unable to win the division championship on the women's side, it was another Chicago entrant that no longer plays in the Wpsl, the Chicago Red Stars reserves side. That was the division champion, and generally speaking, most of those higher level club reserve sides have now found their way elsewhere, if they even still exist. But that Red Stars reserve team was a high-quality group. Red Stars consistently near the top of the highest level of women's professional soccer. PWSL. A lot of time over the ball for Prosic, surrounded by two Torrent players. Gets it away. Lynch She'll play it back to Sturrock, who will send it down the pitch looking for Mia Jonas making a run. Jonas, one of a number of players who is on the roster for the Kicks, who attends Northern Michigan, originally out of Elk Grove, Illinois. Lynch back over the ball. Two Torrent defenders surround her. Torrent get it back. Champagne keeps possession. Now plays the ball to the near side. Tatum Adamson. Adamson, one more pass to the wing. Dulac. Another low cross. Torrent really working those low crosses a lot, not just in this match, but also against the Bavarians as well. Trying to keep everything accurate and along the ground. Ball played now to the far side. Skinner Barrett. She tries a low cross. That gets knocked out over the touchline. Isabel Peterson, the one who sends it out. Throw in for the Torrent. They take it quickly. This will be a high cross. Torrent player is there. Flag goes up offside. Addison Stanchik out of Gurnee, Illinois. The Billiken from St. Louis. A step too far forward. First substitution of the match for either side. It will be for the Kicks. And it will be Julia Olander. Olander from Elmhurst, Illinois. College soccer in the Ivy League at Penn. Torrent do get possession back, and they will play the ball through the back. Champagne. Over to the far side. Abby Hall. Hall, good ball forward. Onside. Maya Wilson. However, Wilson hesitated for a second. She wasn't sure if she was on. She was so unmarked that she thought she might have been out in front of the defense. Instead, she just was lost by the Kicks. So she hesitated for a second, and as a result, she couldn't chase down the ball before it went beyond the end line. It'll be a goal kick for the Kicks. Approaching the 20-minute mark in this first half. Torrent putting pressure on Guzik. She'll send it to the far side. Torrent do get a touch, but it'll go over the end line. Guzik will get the opportunity to take a goal kick. It won't be Guzik who takes it. Sent away instead by Smith. Fight for possession downfield. Isabel Peterson controls momentarily, but she sends it out over the touchline. Throw in for FC Miluwakee Torrent. Skinner Barrett lets the ball take one bounce. Plays it over the top of the defender. However, Sofia Torres comes across. We'll get a whistle and a foul, though, as Corey Beecher allowed play to progress to see if there was advantage. There was none for the Torrent. Torrent will get a set piece from distance here. The Torrent will equally distribute 7 players along the edge of the 18. Here comes the set piece. The weave is on, but coming up to the edge of the 6 to collect is Guzik. Kicks keep the Torrent off the board into the 22nd minute of the match. First ball won by the Kicks and Lynch. Heavy first touch. Torrent will challenge. Adamson able to play it back to her teammate Champagne, and Torrent do get possession. This is a glorious time to be in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, folks. For those of you who are watching this broadcast down in Chicago, this is the week to consider making a trip up to Milwaukee. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will be the last 3 days of the world's largest music festival, Summerfest. Warm conditions. If you're into golf, great golf up here. Spectacular parks. Goodness knows a lot of folks from south of the border do find their way up to Wisconsin this time of year. Popular hotspot north of Madison known as Wisconsin Dells. All the water parks. Fun activities up there. Corner kick for FC Miluwakee Torrent coming up here momentarily. Warm one today, but for all the times in Wisconsin that we deal with conditions 40 degrees and lower, you take the warm ones when you can get them. In swinger on the corner off of Dulak's foot, headed towards goal, cleared off the line. Kick struggle with the clearance after that. Ball played towards goal and a diving save made by Guzik. Stanchik sent it off the inside of her right foot. Looked like it was headed inside the near post before Guzik was able to dive and collect. And that keeps the Torrent off the board into the 24th minute now. Ball forward. The attempted clearance is collected by Stanchik. Stanchik tries to put it over the top. And she does. Unfortunately, both of Guzik and the goal. And with the match now in this 23rd minute, or 24th minute, we should say, the Torrent will bring on their substitutes. Kate Downs, Margaret Sisk, as mentioned, Sarah Stadler, and Sydney Bollis come on for the Torrent. They replace Abby Hall, Sophia Balistreri, Tatum Adamson, and Addiston Stanchik. We should also, at some point in the near future here, get a hydration break. Corey Beecher did say we would have those during this match when I had the chance to speak to him beforehand. Of course, with the Torrent substitutes coming on, he decided to let that flow, but we should then get something in a moment. He'll wave off the handball call as the Torrent maintain possession. However, that possession does not last long. Good ball played to the outside by Natalia Lopez. Running it down is Peterson. Peterson, though, well marked. That'll be sent out over the touchline. We will have a throw in for FC Miluwakee Torrent. Skinner Barrett still out there. She's the one who makes the throw. Yeah, summer in Wisconsin is just an absolutely glorious thing. And yes, a little bit warm today, but you know what? That's why we like our beverages in Wisconsin. We've been known to make a few of them, too. Some of them involve some barley and some hops. And as we talked about in the Open, what better day would there be than a day like this? Crack open a nice cold beer and take in some association football. Certainly a lot of the fans that are here today are doing exactly that. Ball played to the outside. Chicago Kicks have had some opportunities early on in this contest. Christina Lynch, low cross, touched, kept off the end line, at least at first. Yes, they will say that the Torrent do not allow the corner, but do give up the throw-in. Throw-in will be made by Jocelyn Prosick. Ball played back to Prosick after she makes the throw-in. Defender leaves Lynch. Lynch along the end line, and now it will be a corner kick for the Kicks. Chicago Kicks corner kick. Let's see how the Kicks choose to line this one up. Nobody joining Christina Lynch over in the corner. This will be an outswinger towards the penalty spot. One touch for the Kicks, but not much there. Ball cleared out by the Torrent. Controlled in the back by Sofia Torres. Torres not your prototypical center back, as we will now have a stoppage of play for a hydration break. A lot of the time with those center backs, and I will even go back with the Marquette University men's soccer team to a player who ended up being an MLS All-Star, Axel Højbjerg, who came out of Sweden. You'll see those center backs are big, strong, we'll say it for the men, even kind of brutish figures that can knock people about and get away with some contact and whatnot. Højbjerg, I remember meeting him when they brought him on a recruiting trip. He went to shake my hand, and I probably could have just shaken his thumb, and it would have been sufficient. Axel Højbjerg was, I believe, 6'9", just a giant figure for Marquette soccer, whereas when you look in the back and you see Sophia Torres for the Chicago Kicks, she is actually listed at 4'11" on her recruiting profile. So the Kicks going with a little bit more speed through the back than size. But so far, it has been working for the Kicks as we are in the 28th minute of this match during the hydration break. And the time for the hydration break will be added on in stoppage time. As, again, FC Miluwakee Torrent taking on Chicago Kicks. Torrent don't need any points today. They would win win the conference even if they would lose today, in the sense that they are 3 points ahead of the Bavarians. The Bavarians could get one final, believe the Bavarians could get one final victory, no, the Bavarians are done. I mean, whatever happens, the Torrent win against the Bavarians, let's put it that way. Yes, the Bavarians have one more match. Even if the Bavarians pull level with the Torrent on points, yeah, it would be the goal differential tiebreaker, which the Torrent are well ahead on. So it is a championship for the Torrent, not to mention that the Torrent went 1-0-1 against the Bavarians with a victory and a draw. So it would be, again, even if the Torrent should fall today, they will be the Lake Michigan Division champions. Apologies for the hesitance there with that. But in that sense, that means that today's match really, again, is not that meaningful to anyone, with the Kicks, again, also at 1-8 on the campaign. But, again, a day that, as we've discussed, you want to play well. You want to play healthy, obviously. You want to stay healthy. But at some point, though, if you're the Torrent, you do want to make a statement here. You want to at least get one goal on the board. And you don't want to play too flat, again, going into that match on Wednesday night against whoever the Land of Lakes division sends to Milwaukee. We are thinking it will be Minnesota Thunder. There was no indication that they would forego the postseason on any of their pages. That is a ball played forward opportunity for Kate Downs until the flag goes up late. When the pass was played and when Downs was beginning to chase it down, the flag was still down. But the far side linesman, after thinking about it for a couple seconds, says, I think she was off. Raises his flag. It'll be a free kick for the Kicks. '31st minute of the match. Still 0-0 here. The Kicks captain, Jocelyn Prosick of Joliet, Illinois. College soccer at Jacksonville. Deciding to make her way down to Florida. Good ball forward. Outstanding decision to a fellow captain. That is Olander off the bench. Olander, nice step over, low cross. Torrent have to step to the ball. One touch, then another touch for Sisk, and Sisk is able to play it away. Well done by the future Wisconsin Badger. Direct ball from Caitlin Smith. Edge of the 18, tiptoe through the tulips for Cape Hatma. But she's able to get it and keep both feet in bounds. That is a legal catch both in the NFL and here in soccer. She'll just roll it forward to her central defensive back, who will play it to the near side. Torrent restart the attack. Dulac tried to thread the needle and couldn't. Kicks get a couple touches, and it works out well for him. Far side, Olander. One touch for Lopez. Ball played towards goal, and a diving stop is made by Hopma. Torrent able to clear. Kicks are not going quietly into the night here, folks. No one told them that this was a celebratory day for FC Miluwakee Torrent. That ball is played over the end line. We may end up with a corner here. Indeed, it will be a corner kick for FC Miluwakee Torrent, despite the fact no one from the Torrent was within 20 yards of the goal. So everyone will have to come forward here, at least most everyone. Folks working the concession stand can stay in place on the south side of Hart Park, but just about everybody else has to come forward. Kate Hopma can at least stay 30 yards outside of goal. But the Torrent will send an outswinger here. Over the top. And that one did not go the direction that she wanted it to. Goal kick for the Kicks. Yet another train will be coming by here shortly here at Hart Park. It's been a busy day for the trains. Lots of trains along with the bicycles, and you can see the bicyclists going by just behind the fencing here at Hart Park. Multiple layers of fencing, of course. Have to keep everyone safe from the train tracks as well. Kicks have not had the majority of possession today, but when they have gone on the attack, they have threatened a couple different times here. Gotten the ball to the edge of the 18. This is going to be a ball played into the box by the Torrent, though. Sarah Stadler out of New Berlin Eisenhower. So this will be an Amtrak train. That means that this is a passenger vehicle. This is probably the Hiawatha heading to Chicago. Little Sheldon Cooper, fun with trains here. Not quite fun with flags, for those of you who are fans of the show The Big Bang Theory. We'll save the vexillology for another time. Flags are on the other side of Hart Park. They're on the south side. We have mentioned that, speaking of Hart Park, the Torrent will be playing that match on Wednesday night up at Eline Soccer Park on the northwest side of Milwaukee. The ongoing renovations here at Hart Park will be kicked up to another level, as this will be a shot played on goal. But Kate Hopma has to knock that one down. So the facility will be unavailable over the course of the next week. The men will be playing a Wisconsin Cup match earlier that day. And then it'll be the Torrent women. It'll be an 8:30 start time for that match. Late nights at Eline Soccer Park. And Eline, of course, kind of the cradle of Milwaukee soccer. Once upon a time, the United States women's national team played a match there during the Mia Hamm days. The old school Milwaukee Rampage way back in the day would draw thousands of fans out there to Eline Soccer Park. Was even telling somebody about, and you can Google this if you'd like, a lot of folks don't remember Melody Top. Was very close to the Eline Soccer Park grounds. Melody Top was a large circus-like tent that they would construct every summer just west of where Eline Soccer Park is, and it's still largely just an empty, grassy space now. But they would have Broadway caliber theater productions over at Melody Top. Big thing in the 70s and 80s. Take the family out to Melody Top and see yourself a show. Was talking with a day job coworker once about Eline Soccer Park, and she mentioned Melody Top and going down there, and I got all excited. I'm a bit of a Milwaukee historian, if you will. I've been a member for quite a while of the Milwaukee Braves Historical Society, honoring the predecessor to the Atlanta Braves. It's the same organization, actually, but the Braves, of course, were here in Milwaukee from 1953 to 1965, World Series champions in 1957, but Melody Top, part of the history of Milwaukee, as the Torrent play that out over the end line and right next to Eline Soccer Park. But Eline has long been the home of the WIAA State Soccer Championships on the boys and girls sides. So there's still quality soccer played there on a regular basis. We will have a substitute, it appears, coming on for the Kicks momentarily. A couple subs. Sofia Velasquez will come on for the Kicks, along with the return of Mia Jonas. Coming off will be Natalia Lopez, as well as Isabel Peterson. Goal kick for the Kicks, but Eline, we have mentioned too, it was the original home of FC Miluwakee Torrent before they chose to make their way over here to Hart Park, and there is a vast amount of space for soccer to be played at Eline Soccer Park. The primary stadium, Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium, is where the Torrent will be playing their matches, but there is also a quality artificial pitch in addition to the artificial pitch at Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium, just to the east of the main facility, the main stand, Pat Jones Field. Pat Jones Championship Field, we should say, even. Torrent, by the way, have sent their another set of subs over, and again, this will be a group that was part of the first 11 for the Torrent. Sofia Balistreri is at midfield, joined by Tatum Adamson. See Addison Stanchik there as well. And Abby Hall is the last of the four. Brand new lights at Eline Soccer Park for Southeast Sales Power Sports Stadium. They used them for the first time in competition play during this year's WIAA Girls Soccer State Championships. Replaced the scoreboard a few years ago at Eline Soccer Park. Nice press box, nice concession stand as well. So certainly all the accoutrements will be there for FC Miluwakee Torrent for those two matches. Good ball into the box. One touch, twisting ball goes wide of the mark. Maya Wilson. That ball might have curled because it was touched by the Kicks. Torrent are currently hanging out in the attacking area. Attacking half, attacking third, if you will. As originally, the far side linesman thought that should be a corner kick, but Corey Beecher has overruled him and said this should be a goal kick. Also, we will have the substitutes come on at this point in time. Coming off, Sydney Dulac, Maya Wilson, Adriana Alberts, and Greta Hansen. We have surpassed the 40-minute mark in this match. Still scoreless between the Torrent and the Kicks. I have had the chance to be involved with the State Soccer Championships since 2019. One of my most cherished gigs. Seeing schools come from around the state of Wisconsin, and we've talked a number of times here on these Torrent broadcasts about the powerhouse programs you see there consistently. Catholic Memorial, Andy Davi's team being one of them, along with Whitefish Bay, Oregon, Brookfield Central, Brookfield East, Cedarburg there quite a bit. But again, go back a few years, and for my money, not just one of the best high school soccer matches I have ever seen, just one of the best soccer matches I've had a chance to be a part of. Kiel versus Cedar Grove, Belgium. A 6-5 overtime classic in which Kiel won its first state championship in school history, a school that had been around for almost a century, upwards of 95 years. And Taylor Schad, who was hoping to spend some time with the Torrent this summer, it didn't quite work out. outstanding player for Kiel. I like to talk about that match in 2023 and say, as Torrent try and cross the ball into the middle, it's not there for them. I have never worked a soccer match in my life where I have talked about ties and lead changes like a basketball game. That was that match. Just a back-and-forth affair where it seemed like every time Kiel was able to score, that's a ball over the top and in! Look at that shot from distance from Abby Hall. And that gets the Torrent on the board first in this one. It's 1-0 Torrent in the 43rd. Abby Hall, Brookfield native, Illinois State, on target, to the far post. And it's 1-0 FC Miluwakee Torrent. The souvenir soccer ball that Hall throws into the stands bounces off the grandstands and onto the track. She almost had to throw the ball as long as she sent the goal from. But it is a goal in the 43rd minute, and FC Miluwakee Torrent has the advantage on this day when they are celebrating their Lake Michigan Division title. It's 1-0 in favor of the ladies in blue.
Your first FC Miluwakee Torrent goal by number 28, Abby Hall.
Hall put her hands up after the shot, came from distance, as mentioned. Perfectly placed. We mention it every once in a while. There are advantages and disadvantages to having a keeper who is perhaps on the undersized side. One of the disadvantages, for better or worse, is balls like that. It's just a fact of life. There's only so far up into the air they can reach. Abby Hall took advantage. That's a goal from 30 yards out for Abby Hall. She took that at the 22-yard line of the football gridiron. Perfectly placed. Left-footed ball over the top of everyone in front of her, including the keeper. Torrent have the lead. As much as the Torrent will miss playing here at Hart Park, because that's a good through ball. 1v1 against the keeper. Oh, they say she was offside. Looked like Olander was dangerously close to being level. Now, keep in mind here, the kicks, again, nothing to lose today. As we do get the indication, there will be 3 minutes of stoppage time.
The referees indicated 3 minutes of added time. 3 minutes.
Making up for the hydration break that we had earlier, as well as other stoppages, but you wish you could play the match here at Hart Park. There's a familiarity that you have. It's not a road match by any stretch of the imagination. It's not even that much further to the north. I would say it's another 10 minutes drive or so, but nonetheless, if you have to play anywhere else in Milwaukee when it comes to soccer, I would say either E-Line or Valley Fields would be the two places you'd want to play. Valley Fields, of course, would be an entirely different surface. Ball played to the near side. Well defended by the Kicks. Jocelyn Prosick, one of the members of the Peanut Gallery up here in the press box, just chimed in with Engelman Stadium. And hey, Engelman, outstanding facility. You want to talk about history with college soccer and all of the great matches that have been played there by the Milwaukee Panthers? By all means. That said, there's also a tree hanging over the fence on the north side of the pitch there at Engelman that sometimes gets in the way. And it was quite the fight for many years when it came to the neighbors to get lights put in there. Something that Louis Bennett Longtime head coach of the Milwaukee Panthers, tried to do for many years, and then John Coleman was the one who was on the receiving end when it finally got done. But Engelman, a great facility as well. Mentioned Valley Fields. Valley Fields, you would be playing on grass, which would be a little bit different. Not sure even what condition the grass is in. They let that germinate quite a bit during the summer, try to keep everyone off of it, especially after some of the Marquette lacrosse games are played there in the spring. The men play on that surface. They are the only team north of the Mason-Dixon line, as that is a shot off the foot of Fuhrer, who is blocked. Then another shot taken by Velasquez. That is also off the Torrent. Yeah, the lacrosse boys do have a tendency to rip that pitch up a little bit. They did play on it a couple times, including their big win over Denver that qualified them for the Big East tournament. Time ticking down here in this first half. Valley Field's a great facility. It's just that when you're used to playing on turf, as the Torrent are, to then go from that surface to grass, that is really making a transition. So playing on the turf at Eline Soccer Park, maybe a little bit more of a familiar feeling. Right-footed shot by Addison Stanchik. Didn't get behind it the way she wanted to. That goes well wide of the mark. And there is your whistle from Corey Beecher to indicate that we are at halftime. Your score at the half: FC Milwaukee Torrent 1, Chicago Kicks SC 0. The Torrent with the lead on a shot from distance by Abby Hall in the 43rd minute. As the Torrent have already clinched the Lake Michigan Division Championship, but they'd like to go out with 3 more points and keep their record pristine on the season with 8 wins and 2 draws if they can get the victory today. However, there's still 45 minutes plus of soccer left to play, and the Chicago Kicks still have time to try and get one on the Torrent. They have threatened a couple times today, despite their 1-8 mark on the season. We will take a break for halftime. We'll go and do some hydration ourselves. Haven't had the chance to have much of a hydration break on my end, but we will load up with some fluid so we don't cramp up here in the box, whether it be me or Kevin O'Connor punching the buttons. And we'll come back with the second half in a few minutes. Again, 1-0 at halftime. Torrent over the Kicks. This is FC Milwaukee Torrent Women's Soccer. Back with you from Hart Park in Wauwatosa on this celebratory day for FC Miluwakee Torrent. Torrent have a 1-0 advantage on Chicago Kicks. FC Miluwakee Torrent with 7 wins and 2 draws on the 2025 Wpsl Central Region North Lakes Conference Lake Michigan Division campaign. Trying to make it 8-0-2 on the year, or 8-2-0, the way that the Wpsl posts things. Get one last victory before they take on likely Minnesota Thunder in the North Lakes Conference Championship match, which will take place at Eline Soccer Park at 8:30 p.m. Wednesday night. And we will be on the call for that match as well. Taking a peek at the pitch right now, and of course you're seeing a rather generic shot of midfield, but as the match gets underway, Andy Dobby talking about the select soccer balls that the Torrent use with the officials. Level of inflation perhaps on a day like this, including the quality of the balls as well. Select, one of the world's largest manufacturers of hand-sewn soccer balls, and part of the reason I know that is they have long been the provider of soccer balls to the WIAA State Boys and Girls Soccer Championships, and I have read the read where they make that claim to be one of the world's largest producers of hand-sewn soccer balls for upwards of 6 years now. Something they're very proud of, a Wisconsin-based company as well. Torrent will retake the pitch, wearing the home blues. White socks today for FC Miluwakee Torrent. Meanwhile, the Kicks wearing the white tops, royal blue numerals shorts, and socks for the Kicks. As it will be the Torrent moving from our left to our right in the second half on whatever device you may be watching us on, television, computer, phone. Maybe you're sitting here in the stands with us, happen to have the matchup on YouTube alongside of you. See a few folks with their phones out. Surely they would be doing nothing but watching this broadcast right now. Meanwhile, it'll be the Kicks moving from south to north, from scoreboard to train tracks, from concession stand to bike race. Again, a little on the line today with the Torrent having already clinched the Lake Michigan Division Championship. But still a last chance here for the Kicks to get their kicks, as we mentioned in the open, against FC Miluwakee Torrent. We will have a new keeper for FC Miluwakee Torrent here in the second half. Elise Crone. She will take her spot between the pipes for FC Miluwakee Torrent as we get this second half underway. At some point here, the Torrent are taking their sweet time here, both along the touchline and now out on the pitch, as the sounds of Justice and Newlands actually run out here. We didn't even have enough music for the start of the second half, as long as the Torrent took to get out there onto the pitch. But the Torrent will kick off to start the second half and have first possession. It will be Maya Wilson. We'll get things underway for the Torrent. She stands at the big blue lacrosse X at midfield, along with the yellow soccer dot and the 50-yard line for football. The various markings here at Hart Park. We talk about it almost every time we're on the air here at Hart Park, that it's more a question of which sports you can't play on this surface that are normally played on grass in terms of what lines are out there. And we'll run through them all again, as we often do, although we will get a corner kick for FC Miluwakee Torrent right away here in the first minute of this second half. Of course, you've got the soccer lines. The red lines are for women's lacrosse. The blue lines are for men's lacrosse. You have the black lines for field hockey. The blue lines are oftentimes used as well for the sidelines for Ultimate Frisbee. The Milwaukee Monarchs Ultimate Frisbee team in the Premier Ultimate League plays its games here. I may have an affiliation with that organization as well. Kevin O'Connor, our producer, saying, much like it's a question of which lines for which sports you can't play out here, it's also a question of which teams I don't work for, too. But, yeah, I have made the point to say that it is only the black lines out here, the field hockey lines. That is the only sport that I have not worked among the lines that are out here. Have been here a few times doing play-by-play for high school football with Wauwatosa East and Marquette University High School playing their games out here. Marquette University and Marquette University High School lacrosse have played games here. Of course, Marquette, when they first started their program, they played their home games here. The university had a crowd of over 4,200 people here the first season of Marquette University men's lacrosse as they took on the Duke Blue Devils here. Nationally televised game. Part of the very rapid growth story for Marquette University men's lacrosse as Joe Amplo, the head coach, had that program within 5 years from nothing to the NCAA tournament. Of course, there are the red lines for, again, women's lacrosse, and the Marquette women's lacrosse team did play some of its games here back in the early days of the program. They now do all of their, or have all of their home games, we should say, at Valley Fields. They have since built a seasonal inflated indoor structure where the women play all of their home games and the men play most of their non-conference schedule, and then taking things outside for the end of the season to play on the soccer pitch at Valley Fields. But yeah, many sports can be played here. And keep in mind, too, this is just the stadium field here. Hart Park has a wide open grassy area. I actually, believe it or not, with all of these teams that I work for, I do occasionally have some spare time as that's a ball played forward. Torrent trying to chase it down. Skinner Barrett can't get there in time. Comes off the knee of Guzik, but is cleared away by the Kicks. Throw in for the Torrent. Large grassy area behind the far side stand on the east side of Hart Park. In my spare time, I have a buddy who used to play recreational wiffle ball, and they would have a wiffle ball league on weeknights, and I filled in a couple times in the Wiffle Ball League, played over there. There's a softball diamond behind us, ball headed up near the penalty spot by the Torrent. Sent away by the Kicks. Torrent do get possession back. Ball played to the near side. Skinner Barrett makes one move, gets past the defender. Sends it further back. Adamson looks to make a very similar move. Torrent looking for a 1-2 ball. Adriana Alberts couldn't get far forward enough. It'll just go into Guzik's hands. Yeah, softball diamond behind us. 8 tennis courts. They've even got a track and field throws area. I should mention I have not had the opportunity to work a track meet here at Hart Park, so that's another sport. All kinds of fun here at Hart Park. And keep in mind, too, there's the band shell, little skate park area. This is such a great facility for the city of Wauwatosa as we will get a whistle and a foul against the Kicks. Set piece opportunity for the Torrent. Abby Hall had the goal earlier. She scored in the 43rd minute. Similar distance. Let's see if she decides to put this on frame or tries to set up one of her teammates making a run from the far side. Keeper comes forward, not able to get to it, headed up and over the top of the goal. Be a goal kick for the Kicks. But another opportunity for the Torrent there in the 51st minute, at least threatening to double their advantage. Some very nice bike trails going through the woods just south of us here. There have been occasions in the past. I haven't pulled out the bicycle much this summer, but I have actually ridden my bike. I live in Greenfield, which for those of you who are not native to the Milwaukee area is on the southwest side of town. Wauwatosa a little bit north and well west of Milwaukee, but it's about a 45-minute bike ride for me, and I am certainly not the world's fastest bike rider. If I were to be entered into the bike race going on to the north of us here, they'd probably lap me about every other lap. But a nice ride, to be honest with you, and mostly on trails from the southwest side to the north side, the Oak Leaf Trail here in Milwaukee. Talking again about just how nice. Goes all the way around the city. Yeah, I've ridden the Oak Leaf Trail up to the north even, towards the edge of Milwaukee County near Ozaukee County, and it's just, again, I cannot sing the praises of this part of the world at this time of year enough. And it's great to be on air on a day like this. That's ball on the far side. Stanchik to the near side. One touch for Skinner Barrett. She's on. Tries to play it to the far post. Not there. Deflected. Goal, FC Miluwakee Torrent. Skinner Barrett can't finish. But the Torrent still able to find the opportunity. And coming over to toss the souvenir ball into the stands will be Addison Stanchik. Throws it to a similar part of the stands where Abby Hall threw the ball after her goal. The goal comes in the 53rd minute.
Goal number 32, Addison Stanchik.
Kicks tried to clear. Couldn't do it. Stanchik was there. Goal number 2 for the Torrent. Torrent 2, kick 0. FC Miluwakee Torrent getting the momentum they want heading into that big match on Wednesday night for the North Lakes Conference Championship. Good ball forward by Stanchik, who just scored the goal. A little bit too far forward, though, for Wilson. Addison Stanchik out of Gurnee, Illinois. St. Louis Billiken. It was Hall that scored the first goal. Stanchik played her youth soccer at Clip Select SC. Went to Warren Township. She will start at St. Louis this fall. Two-time Illinois All-State player, two-time Chicagoland All-State. Top Drawer Soccer had her ranked as the number 7 player in the Midwest at one point. She's got a goal to the good today for the Torrent. Substitutions coming on for the kicks. Jocelyn Prosick will return, as will Natalia Lopez and Christina Lynch. Coming off is Ann Zerfus, who started the second half for the kicks after not seeing time in the first half. We'll be joined by Julia Olander, who came on as a substitute in the first half, and Sofia Velasquez. Now, Hart Park, a wonderful home for FC Miluwakee Torrent. The village of Wauwatosa. Got an establishment right across the street where you can get some beverages after the match if you so choose. Certainly plenty of them down the street as well. Always a bustling hub of activity, Hart Park, and great home for FC Miluwakee Torrent. Part of the decision-making in terms of coming here was the fact that it was such a vibrant area. Again, Eline, an outstanding facility, and you know, the Milwaukee Kickers do a great job with running the operations up there, but a little bit isolated. Not a lot in that area that is available in terms of amenities for fans beyond what is there at the facility. And again, not a knock on the facility. There's only so much you can do in terms of the surrounding area. And again, the Kickers do a great job. They have an indoor facility there with 3 different fields for folks to play on. We talked a little bit about the 2 championship fields. Plenty of grass area as well for soccer. It's always a lot going on over there as we'll get a corner kick for the Torrent here. Let's see if they bring the subs on before the corner or not. Looks like they're going to keep the subs off for the moment here. Sydney Ballas, Sarah Stadler, Kate Downs, and Margaret Sisk. Once again, the subs coming on in a few moments, but first up, it'll be the Torrent. And Alberts taking the corner correction. That is Adamson, who sends the outswinger. Headed from the near post by the Kicks. Takes a couple bounces over the top. Kicks control. Kicks haven't really had many chances to truly go on the counter today. They'll make an effort here. Peterson plays the ball towards the middle, looking for Lopez. Lopez a little too far ahead of it. Torrent will recover, and they will work through the back. But approaching 10 years of history for the Torrent celebrating their 10th anniversary last year here at Hart Park. And again, not many other places that we would think of that the Torrent would want to be here in Milwaukee. It's a great facility and a great atmosphere for the Torrent. Ball played to the near side. Skinner Barrett, edge of the 18, 12 yards out. Nice ball, shot with the left foot, and a goal, Maya Wilson! Wilson delivers on the feed from Skinner Barrett. It comes in the 59th minute, and it's now 3-0 for FC Milwaukee Torrent. It's a good day to have a number that starts with the digit 2. The 3 goal scorers, 2 of them, 23 and 28. Hall and now Wilson. Skinner Barrett with the assist. A pair of 2s on her kit. But the number of goals for the Torrent is now 3. As they take the advantage on the Kicks and increase it by 1.
Third FC Milwaukee Torrent goal by number 23, Maya Wilson.
We have a signal up to the stands here by Andy Davi. We were thinking it was for us for a moment, but he is summoning a young gentleman down from the stands, and I believe he is going to give him a game ball. He's a very happy camper. In addition to one of the souvenir balls that came after the goal, and love to see it. The substitutes did come on for FC Milwaukee Torrent after the goal. Kate Downs, Margaret Sisk, Sarah Stadler, and Sydney Ballas. Hall, Stanchik, and Wilson with your goals for the Torrent. 2 goals within 6 minutes of each other here in the second half, and the Torrent have busted this one open at 3-0. So we are receiving word now that the question has been brought up again as to exactly who the Torrent will be playing in Wednesday night's match. We are hearing, this has not yet been formally confirmed, we are hearing that there is discussion the Thunder may opt out again. So it is important to note, we don't know. We don't know for sure. It could be Minnesota Thunder, it could be Salvo SC. Both teams out of the Twin Cities area. Good chance it'll be Salvo SC, but we'll have to get confirmation on that for Wednesday night. All the Torrent can do right now, though, is play the opponent that's in front of them. That's the Kicks. And they're doing a plenty good job of that with a 3-0 advantage. On for the Kicks, Sofia Velasquez. She will replace Isabel Peterson. Slight difference in height between Velasquez and Peterson. Ball played forward for the kicks. A touch for Lynch, but she doesn't get much more than that. Goal kick for the Torrent. Again, with this being a day of celebration for the Torrent, with it being their 4th straight conference championship. Talked at halftime. We had a very kind gentleman from beneath us who popped up to the box to say hello, and of course, we're grateful for all of our supporters who come out and watch FC Miluwakee Torrent. He asked, Dan Pfeiffer here with you on the broadcast, why are you wearing a Chelsea FC pinback today? The reason being, I am a Chelsea supporter, number one. But number two, day like today, where you already have the conference championship, or the division championship, we should say, in hand, reminds me of the one chance I've had to see Premier League soccer in action personally. Was in 2015. It was at Stamford Bridge, and my wife and I happened to be on our honeymoon. We just celebrated our 10th wedding anniversary on May 9th, and of all of the accomplishments I have had in my life, being married to the wonderful woman that is now Pam Pfeiffer, formerly Pam Krajewski, is my proudest one of all. I've always said that it's one thing to decide to enter a relationship and to get married. It's another thing to have something that sustains. And the fact that we have had such a wonderful, loving marriage for 10 years, went out to the Pasta Tree for a nice dinner for our 10th anniversary. And Pam has been absolutely amazing, and part of the reason that you're able to hear me on the broadcasts or on the PA for the Torrents and as many other teams as I get the chance to work for is because of her willingness to let me go out and do this in addition to having the day job, and for both of us. She has her side business that she runs where she travels sometimes too, but we are around each other just the right amount, and it is a near perfect relationship. And I know Pam is busy today not watching the broadcast. She very rarely watches these broadcasts, but shout out to the wonderful woman that is my wife. But for our honeymoon, we chose to go to England. It happened to be at the end of May when the Premier League season was coming to an end, and in 2015 it just so happened that the Chelsea team that I support claimed the Premier League trophy with a few matches to spare, as that is a ball that is headed back to Crone, the second half keeper for the Torrent. Crone able to fall on the ball, and she will distribute wide, where the Torrent will restart things, heading back in the opposite direction. And as part of our honeymoon, we spent a week in England. Started off in London, took a little trip to the north towards Milton Keynes, came back down, had a chance to take the tour of the new Wembley Stadium. As part of that trip, of course, saw all of the usual sights: Buckingham Palace, Westminster Abbey. I'll tell you what, if you get the chance to go over to London, do not skip the Westminster Abbey part of that trip. To be in a building that is the final resting place of truly many of the world's most legendary figures, great minds, authors, kings and queens from the course of centuries. I had to remind myself at one point when I saw one of the monuments to a gentleman who was alive in the 18th century to say to myself, this is one of the more recent tombs that is in this building, and yet this still predates the United States of America. The history of humanity almost feels like it is contained within that facility, including some more recent figures. Final resting place of Stephen Hawking. Subs for the Chicago Kicks as I wax poetic about great buildings across the globe. And Zerfus comes on. Reemerges for the Kicks. Also joining her out on the pitch, trying to get a confirmation on the number here. I believe that might be Alexa Karagiannis, making her first appearance of the match. Nice step over, move, looking for the far post, can't find it. Addison Stanchik trying to make it a brace. Had a player cutting across as well. Yeah, Wilson on the backside was trying to also get her second goal. Stanchik and Wilson, who have both scored goals here in this second half. National anthem going on in the background for one of the bicycle races that is occurring. But yes, we did have a chance to get a couple tickets to go and see Chelsea take on Sunderland in the final match of the 2014-15 Premier League season. And with Chelsea having already claimed the cup, a celebratory day at Stamford Bridge was also the last match for Didier Drogba in Chelsea blue. He would make his way over to America, would actually play with Montreal Impact and would play with a Marquette legend in Callum Malice after leaving Chelsea. But he was playing his last match, the Côte d'Ivoire striker. So in the 30th minute, Jose Mourinho subbed him off. He was carried off by his teammates at the end of the match. Of course, there was the ceremony in which Chelsea raised the cup. They played one step beyond on the underground on the way back to our hotel. 3/4 of the way, Chelsea supporters were singing about Cesc Fabregas. He wears a magic hat, and that's about all of that song that I can repeat. But they sang it over and over and over and over and over again. I guess I can say the last phrase of that song. They said, when we win the league again, we'll sing this song all night. And I think their intention with them having won the league was to sing that song all night. Only problem was we had to go further north than a lot of the folks that were on that train, so they probably kept singing while we had to stay on the train. But a magical day that day, and you want to talk about an atmosphere around the bridge on the west side of London, just smiles and beer flowing, and a very fun day when you know that at the end of the day, there is going to be a ceremony where a trophy will be raised, and we will not have anything near that sort of a ceremony here as that ball's played over the top and in! Kate Downs! Goal number 4 for FC Miluwakee Torrent! She scores it in the 69th minute. 10 minutes after the previous Torrent goal. Downs, the 4th goal scorer of the day for the Torrent, as they will continue to have momentum going in to that North Lakes Conference Championship match Wednesday night. Downs will throw a ball into the stands. We'll have a hydration break.
FC Miluwakee Torrent goal by number 5, Kate Downs.
And the Torrent are up 4-0. That day in London, Chelsea did get a 3-1 victory over Sunderland. As we discuss English royalty up here in the box while we take a quick break ourselves. It is 4-0 for FC Miluwakee Torrent over the Chicago Kicks. Did not realize I was in the presence of royalty here with Kevin O'Connor, who apparently has some ties to the British Crown, apparently. So he can trace his lineage all the way back to Charlemagne. That sounds like a line from the movie A Knight's Tale, which actually it is a line in the movie A Knight's Tale. His 39th great-grandfather. Okay, there you go. For those of you out there watching, I apologize for pausing on the broadcast here, but Kevin is reviewing about like 8 centuries of his family tree here, so pull out the microphone and just put him on the air at some point here. But yeah, wow, there you go. Yeah, prehistory, if you will, before we even talk about kind of the run of kings of England that we know. And there have been some shakeups over time. Not to get too deep into how there have been various houses who have come through before the current House of Windsor that is in charge over there, but there you go. So the question is, though, Kevin, now that we've said that you can, in a very roundabout way, tie yourself to the current King of England, the former Prince Charles, why have we not had him out on a match yet? That's my question. Have you put out the invite? It hasn't answered your calls. Okay. Can we at least get Kate Middleton out here? Or Pippa? Kicks looking for an answer. Couple balls played on the ground and in. They were onside too. It is a goal for the Chicago Kicks that flips the script, and Zerfus off the assist from Julia Olander. Both substitutes for the Kicks. The goal comes in the 73rd minute, and the Chicago Kicks are on the board. It is 4-1. Well, the Torrent maybe got a little complacent after both the hydration break and the fourth goal. And the Chicago Kicks do put a goal on the board against the Torrent. Keep in mind, Elise Krohn has not seen a lot of time this season for FC Miluwakee Torrent. And there are a number of substitutes out there, not to mention again, this is a 4-1 match, but still a bit of a lapse in concentration perhaps for the Torrent, as they do allow a goal to the Kicks. And it is now 4-1. So the Chicago Kicks will not be shut out in their final match of the season. They do cut the lead to 3. Highly unlikely that the Kicks will find the 3 goals they need to claim a point in this match, but we'll see what happens here. If anything, this may inspire the Torrent to try and answer back and get 1 goal on the board before the end of this match, as we get a whistle and a foul against the Torrent, to prove to themselves that they can go the full 90 minutes here and maintain the level of concentration. Look down to Andy Davi after that goal was scored to see his reaction. He put a hand to his face as if he wasn't terribly happy, but was not as animated as we sometimes see Coach Davi when he certainly has issues with things. So certainly not too much of a concern. And as mentioned today, this is a match where there's not much on the line, so it's not as if this is something where it's a great tragedy that the Torrent have allowed a goal by any stretch of the imagination. But given the fact that we have been spending much of the match talking about a variety of things, from matches played in history at Eline Soccer Park, the Melody Top Tents, our producer's ties to the royal family in England, and so on and so forth. 1 goal in the grand scheme of things. Not the biggest of deals. That is a right-footed shot for Ashlyn Skinner-Barrett, but it is saved by Chloe Guzik. Guzik has been busy in goal today, that's for sure. Chicago native. Plays for the Scarlet Hawks of Illinois Tech. Outstanding school in Chicago, right off of I-94, very close to Rate Field, home of the Chicago White Sox, who are supposedly a Major League Baseball team. I'm hearing rumors, though, that they might get sent down to AAA. Yeah, the White Sox and the Rockies in a battle for relegation, I believe, in MLB. On for the Kicks, J.C. Sturck. She will replace Lola Fuhrer. Illinois Tech, now in the Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference. One of a number of D3 conferences that spans Illinois and Wisconsin. We talk about the WIAC quite a bit here in Wisconsin, which has most of the UW system schools. But there's also the NAC, which has the likes of Dominican. Number of Kicks players play for the Dominican Stars. Alverno here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin Lutheran College. Benedictine in the Chicago area. St. Norbert now part of the NAC. Relatively recent addition. You also have the CCIW, the Collegiate Conference of Illinois and Wisconsin. Carthage College plays in the CCIW. North Central College. Northern Illinois. Carthage, an interesting story, and a lot of people, Carthage has been located in Kenosha now for quite a while. People don't know Carthage actually relocated at one point. Carthage started in Illinois. Relocated the entire campus to Kenosha, and that's where they are now. Kevin O'Connor to my right doing his Dana Carvey and Phil Hartman impersonation of Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon right now. I did not know that. Yes. Relocated, yes. You are correct, sir, yes. Good times on the broadcast today, and why not, folks? It's 4-1 in favor of the Torrent. We'll be a little bit more serious on Wednesday night. That'll be a match where one team will be victorious and one team will end up having their season come to an end. I want to say hi to Gib Olander and Teddy O out there on YouTube. Thanks for commenting on the feed. You know, when we have the moments like this, as that ball is hit by Skinner Barrett, and it will roll into the goal. A last touch for Skinner Barrett on a ball played forward, and the Torrent make it 5-1. We said the Torrent might want to get one more goal after they surrendered the goal in the 73rd minute, and they do get that goal in the 79th. It was just a bouncing, skipping ball played forward from the back. Looking back at the replay of the goal, Skinner Barrett was able to just get the right foot on it and pop it over the top of the keeper, Guzik. There will be an assist on that goal. We have been so involved in our conversation about a variety of things, which is now ranged into Saturday Night Live parody, quite literally, that I want to confirm exactly who is on the back line right now for the Torrent in terms of that assist. Skinner Barrett did have the finish, though. 5-1 in favor of the Torrent. Ball played forward to Stadler. Stadler tries to send it towards goal. Anna Champagne was the one who sent that ball forward. Playing a wing back position right now with the Torrent. Again, kind of shifting players around here, trying some different things, and why not in a match like this? Challenge your players a little bit. Substitutes do come to the table. Skinner Barrett, the 5th different goal scorer today for the Torrent. Hall, Stanchik, Wilson, Downs, and Skinner Barrett, attorneys at law, all with goals on the board. Ball over the top. Kicks would like to get a second goal here. Why not? Torrent take possession, though. We do have 6 substitutes currently standing at midfield right now, inclusive of Maya Wilson, who has a goal, Tatum Adamson, Abby Hall, who has a goal, and Sydney Dulac. Along with, for the kicks, Isabel Peterson and Mia Jonas. I'm assuming Mia Jonas has no relation to the Jonas brothers. She would be a Jonas sister. I have Jonas. I may be right. You may be crazy, but it just may be a lunatic you're looking for. It is Mia Jonas. She will be attending Northern Michigan University. Played her club soccer with FC United, a club in the Chicago area, employer of a very good friend of mine, Stan Anderson, one of the guys behind Camp Shutout. Those substitutes do come on at this point. That will be in the 82nd minute. Free kick for the kicks. Torrent able to disrupt. Go back the other way. So Wednesday night, it will be the Torrent. And again, we are receiving word. It is being discussed that the Thunder may opt out again. So we are thinking at this point it may end up being Salvo SC in that match, taking on FC Miluwakee Torrent. Ball played forward. Skinner Barrett, edge of the 18. Reverses direction. Stays along the edge of the 18. Can't get a good ball back to her teammate. Does win it back. Alberts into the middle. Wilson. Shot. Tipped and into the goal. 6 for the Torrent. Half a dozen. The Torrent not slowing down. Going in to the North Lakes Conference Championship match. Maya Wilson. Want to confirm that it was Wilson on the goal. Indeed it was. She now has a brace.
6th FC Miluwakee Torrent goal, number 23, Maya Wilson, which makes it a brace for Maya.
Came from about 5 yards outside the 18. She connects after the simple ball from Alberts, and it comes in the 83rd minute. Hard to believe that this match was scoreless for 43 minutes, folks. It is now a 6-1 match. Wilson becomes the first Torrent striker to score a pair of goals in this contest. Everybody else now with 1 goal apiece. Ball to the near side. Offside. Ashlyn Skinner Barrett. That ball was delivered by Abby Hall, who scored a goal earlier. Got the scoring started, in fact, from distance. Similar spot, but on the other half of the pitch. This time she was looking for Skinner Barrett, but understandably at this point, Torrent a little far forward. Kick supporters want a foul. They get a call for a foul. Also at this point, late in the match like this, on a day with temperatures in the 90s, certainly even with the hydration breaks and the substitutions and whatnot, fatigue probably starting to set in. Days like this just wear you down. Ball played to the far side. Couple kicks players come over. It is Lynch. Plays the ball back, trying to chip Elise Crone. is Julia Olander, who does have the assist on the Kicks lone goal of the match, but Olander cannot add a goal to that tally. Goal kick for the Torrent. The WIA State Girls Soccer Championships. Mentioned those were over at E-Line, and it was a very warm day that day as well. In fact, that day was so warm that they instituted 2 hydration breaks per half and extended the halftime. High school halftimes are normally 10 minutes. That halftime they extended to 13. Sent the teams inside to the indoor facility at E-Line Soccer Park to get some air conditioning during halftime, whereas a lot of the time at E-Line during the State Soccer Championships, teams will either just make their way off the pitch or even sometimes not even leave the pitch. They'll just go to one corner and talk things over, but they did have the teams go inside for that one. In fact, a number of the teams, they gave the teams the option to warm up inside, confined spaces there with the indoor pitch, the 3 different indoor pitches that are set up permanently that way. And again, we know something about arena soccer here in Milwaukee, home of the Milwaukee Wave. There were 10 different players with Wave ties who played in that men's match the other day. The Milwaukee Wave posted a picture, actually, of the players all gathered together after the match. We will get a substitute here for the Kicks. That is Lauren Torres, who is coming on. She actually has not yet appeared in this match, so she will get a little bit of a run here in the final minutes.
Coming off for the Kicks, number 43, Lauren Torres.
Natalia Lopez comes off for the Kicks. Good chance her day is done. But yeah, it's the way that the indoor facility is set up at E-Line. It is 3 pitches that, again, are set up for arena soccer, are the correct size, which is essentially the size of a hockey rink, as you're well aware if you've ever seen any highlight from the Milwaukee Wave. I'm guessing a lot of you out in the crowd have at some point seen some arena soccer in your life, a unique art form, a form of the game that was very popular here in America in the late 70s, throughout the 80s when the NASL met its demise and before MLS became a thing here in America, and still very popular here in Milwaukee. The Wave still draw good crowds. Bringing up some of the names of the Wave, of course, Victor Noguera was their keeper for many years. Keith Tozer. Kevin O'Connor summoning 6 minutes of stoppage time is what will be added.
Thank you, sir. Referees indicated 6 minutes of that time.
Longtime coach of the Wave.
Zero, thank you.
We have been corrected. The teams, given the result, are going to forego stoppage time. 4th official comes over. Referee puts the whistle to his mouth, and that'll be all. And you know what? With this match being 6-1, and with nothing on the line, and with the Torrent having clinched the Lake Michigan Division Championship already, why not just bring this one to a close? Andy Davi throws one more souvenir ball into the stands. And your FC Milwaukee Torrent finish up the regular season in the WPSL 8-0-2 as the Torrent walk away from the regular season with a 6-1 victory over Chicago Kicks. Goals by Abby Hall in the 43rd minute, Addison Stanchik in the 53rd minute, Maya Wilson assisted by Ashlyn Skinner-Barrett in the 59th minute, Kate Downs in the 69th minute, Skinner-Barrett assisted by Champagne in the 79th minute, and Maya Wilson assisted by Adriana Alberts in the 83rd. The Kicks did get one on the board. It was Ann Zerfus who who was assisted by Julia Olander in the 73rd minute. No goals until the 43rd minute, and then the Torrent in the framework of the next 40 minutes, put 6 goals up on the board, and that is why FC Miluwakee Torrent walks away a big winner in this one. So, regular season done for FC Miluwakee Torrent. They move on to the North Lakes Conference Championship match, where they will face a team yet to be named. That is what we are saying right now officially. It sounds like Minnesota Thunder is not planning on making their way to Milwaukee. That opens the door for Salvo SC to come if they so choose, but we will not guarantee that even it will be they here. And again, we have not yet received official word that Minnesota Thunder will not be coming here, but in the past they have opted out of the postseason. It would not be unprecedented if they do not make it here. Nonetheless, the plans are for Wednesday night, the Torrent women to play a match that will be a knockout round match for them as they try and make their way into and through the Wpsl postseason. We will have that broadcast for you here on the FC Miluwakee Torrent YouTube channel from Eline Soccer Park. If you can't make it out to Eline at 8:30 on Wednesday night, which is our first option for you if you are a Torrent supporter, be sure to tune in for that broadcast. We will have it live on the YouTube stream. I want to thank everyone involved with the broadcast. Of course, the producer, the guy who gets it done, sets everything up in the hot conditions here in the press box, Kevin O'Connor. Team owner Andy Davi, everyone involved with both the men's and women's sides in terms of players and staff. My name is Dan Pfeiffer. I'm saying be a fan. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you Wednesday after this 6-1 victory for FC Miluwakee Torrent over Chicago Kicks SC. FC Miluwakee Torrent, officially your WPSL Central Region North Lakes Conference Lake Michigan Division champions. Have a good rest of your Sunday, everyone. This has been FC Miluwakee Torrent Women's Soccer.